Alright, so, howdy folks. Today, I think we're going to start things off by trying out basically Hullbreaker Horror in a standard Jeskai Hinata list. The reason I think this might have some merit is that Hullbreaker Horror was a decent finisher against mono green in the past, when Alrund's Epiphany was still a thing, and it was not super great against mono white and okay in Izzet Epiphany mirrors. But I do get the feeling that a somewhat significant proportion of Hullbreaker Horror's weaknesses were tied to it wasn't a very good card if you didn't get to play Unexpected Windfall at all. So I kind of want to experiment with seeing if having an additional 2 copies of Unexpected Windfall makes it a little more reliable to get Hullbreaker Horror shenanigans online. And then we're going to put that in a shell with Hinata, Lier, Galvanic Iteration, Alchemist's Gambit, Magma Opus, and some early game. I've still yet to get, like, one of these shells exactly where I'm most comfortable with it, because lacking Divide by Zero is a huge restriction, especially when you then try to figure out what sort of counter magic to play with Lier. Nothing else really ticks all the boxes quite as well as Divide by Zero did. But, well, we're going to give it a go. See what we can make happen. Alright, we're on the play. 3 lands and a big score. Snap keep. I mean, I probably should have led on Deserted Beach so that I could have Fading Hope on turn 2 and then just played Spikefield Hazard on turn 2. That probably would have been a better move than the move that I just engaged in automatically. But I'm sure my opponent's not going to have Magda, like, punish that or anything. Okay, well, the Prosperous Innkeeper doesn't do very much, so we are fine with that. Alright, I would like to put that Magda back in the opponent's hand. Do I want a Spikefield Hazard? I probably don't. I have Hinata and I have Big Score, which means I'm pretty incentivized to go about finding Magma Opus now. Alright, well, this is awkward, actually. The Prosperous Innkeeper means if I Fateful Absence the Despair Sentinel here, they still have access to 3 mana. Am I okay with that? What's my alternatives? My alternative is letting them tap the Magda to Despair Sentinel, which just gives them 4 mana. And I think that's kind of just strictly worse. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I can live with this, probably. Unexpected Windfall. Alright, well, time to see if we can't possibly find a Magma Opus before our opponent does unspeakable, horrible things to us. How unspeakable and horrible can things get? I super love my opponent just cracking a clue. That's so much better for me than, like, any of the possible alternatives they could be doing with all of this mana. Playing a tap land. Wow. My opponent's hand is actually awful. I dig it. Okay, Galvanic. Lier. Alright, so we're gonna Galvanic Big Score, I suppose, because I really want to make this land drop. There's some land drops. Alright, now we can Spikefield a Magda. Maybe too many land drops, actually? Is that a possibility? I don't think there's any pain to waiting to Spikefield the Magda. Probably not. We'll see. Hey, Michael Grace. Thanks for the raid. How'd your stream go? Alright, well I would like to Spikefield the Magda before they get a chance to attack. Okay. Okay. Nothing, you say? Well, that's fascinating, because my opponent has a lot of mana and could be flashing in nasty threats. I could play Lier here, which is vulnerable to my opponent playing some removal spells. I could also just pass and Galvanic Big Score. Hope my opponent doesn't kill me. Because if they don't kill me, I'm pretty sure having an additional 3 net treasures plus a land drop next turn, plus 4 cards, means that I'll be able to play Lier and just pretty much win the game on the spot. Yeah, I bet that that's gonna work. I don't think they can kill me, probably. And Riveteer's Charm killing Lier was in fact one of the things that I was afraid of. Okay, Goldspan Dragon's not the most fun, but we'll see what we can do about that. Trying to figure out what Pioneer deck to play for the RCQ, so I played Winota to get a feel for it. Yeah, I don't know very much about Pioneer, but it's hard to believe that Growth Spiral is the wrong thing to be doing in a format where Growth Spiral is legal. Isn't there a 1-mana red spell that kills Winota? I bet you could build a really nasty teamer deck in Pioneer. Alright, so let's go ahead and Galvanic. Let's go ahead and Big Score. Let's find some kind of counterspell for Goldspan Dragon. Those two aren't anything. These two are perhaps actually something. I'm not dead, right? I go to 1? That does make me uncomfortably dead to Spikefield Hazard. Okay, well, they didn't make a copy of Goldspan Dragon with Kiki Jiki, so thankfully that's fine. Okay, so I'm thinking what I'm going to be able to do is play Hinata, and then pass, holding up Hullbreaker Horror plus Magma Opus? Maybe? My opponent's going to have a lot of treasure, but they're going to have to do a lot of stuff to actually hurt me. Untapped mana is cool. I could also play Lier instead of Hinata, and then just have access to a bunch of 1-mana spells with Hullbreaker Horror. You know what? I think that, unfortunately, that does sound like it's probably the better idea. I guess I only have access to 2 1-mana spells with Lier, come to think of it. Is that actually good enough? That's probably not actually good enough, right? So they're gonna Kiki and make a copy of Goldspan Dragon. I guess I could bounce the Goldspan Dragon now? Yeah, I guess that's actually what I'm supposed to do, huh? Hullbreaker Horror and then play Hinata to bounce the Goldspan Dragon? I don't think with 2 mana they can kill my Hullbreaker Horror while the Hinata's on the stack. And this means if they do make a copy of Goldspan Dragon here, it'll be dead at the end of my turn, so they can't attack with it. Do I Magma Opus something in the upkeep? Yeah, probably now that they've used up this treasure. That runs me the risk of my Hullbreaker Horror getting killed by a removal spell on their upkeep. But maybe I'm just okay with that. Yeah, I think I gotta pass and see if they go to combat without playing the Goldspan Dragon. But if they play the Goldspan Dragon, things go very, very good for me, because I get to Magma Opus, killing the Magda and the Innkeeper and the Reflection, returning the Goldspan and tapping 2 tokens. Okay. They've already played a land for the turn. So if I choose to cast Magma Opus, returning that token, I'm probably happy with that? I think that I'm happy with that. It should wind up meaning they've only got one 2/2 that can attack. If they want to kill my Hullbreaker Horror, they have to do it now. They choose not to do it now. That's probably good for me. So now, even if they kill my Hullbreaker Horror, I've still got a Hinata and a 4/4 in play. Yeah, they want their treasure. They use that black mana to Jund Charm my Hullbreaker Horror away. What is the name of it? Riveteer's Charge? Voltage Surge the Hinata away? Oh. Oh, opponent, I don't know that that results in you winning this game at all. Well, let's see then. Let's go ahead and play Lier, and... yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. Why did you bounce the 2/2 that's dying no matter what and not the other one? The one that I bounced was the one that they were targeting with the Kiki Jiki copy. So by bouncing it, I was removing their ability to make 2 mana there. Normally I would want to bounce one that was going to be there permanently, but that was, for the purpose of that turn, functionally bouncing 2 of them. What's this deck's plan? Pile together a bunch of different control win cons and hope that having 6 copies of Unexpected Windfall makes everything stick together. Okay. Black Market Tycoon with Prosperous Innkeeper and Fable of the Mirrorbreaker and Magda seems like explicitly anti-synergy, but I guess part of the idea is supposed to be that you get up to 5 treasures to activate Magda's ability faster, maybe? I don't know. Just happy this actually has a win con. It's got a lot of win cons, actually. Horror, Lier, Hinata, Hall of the Storm Giants, Opus, sometimes Smoldering Egg. It's too bad you can't name Treasure with Pithing Needle. I'm assuming that I'm probably supposed to play Cinderclasm against the Jaspera Sentinel Magda list. Probably? What am I cutting here? I don't know, is Alchemist's Gambit too slow? Not slow enough? I don't know. Let's play Cinderclasms. It was more of a throwback to the no-win con deck. Yeah. It is a little less painful to win the game when you can actually win the game. That is true. Okay, so we have Fading Hope, Fateful Absence. I mean, 4 lands and things to do early seems like not anything that I'm allowed to cut? Or anything I'm allowed to ship, rather. Okay, so if they do have Magda on turn 2 again, then I can Fading Hope the Jaspera Sentinel, and then play my red source in Spikefield. Alright, that's awkward. Okay, well, you have 2 mana, opponent. What do you want to do with it? Magda. Okay, well, now I'm not entirely certain whether me Fading Hoping anything here has a purpose. I guess it does. They're kind of currently constrained on colors. I don't really need a 4th land. Hinata. Okay. So let's go ahead and Spikefield the Magda. This means they can't play a 4-drop because I bounced the Sentinel, and means that they can't, like, play a... whatchamacallit? Red Saga, unless they have a red land. Oh, I got Obnixilis. Okay, I can live with that. I wasn't sure if they were a Pithing Needle, or an Obnixilis deck that I wanted to bring Pithing Needle in against, from the way that the last game played out, but apparently they were. You are the copy. Awkward. You are the original. Do I want to kill? Yeah. I should probably kill... no, wait, I'm supposed to kill the copy. Okay, that was bad. For some reason my brain was latched on to, oh, this is annoying that I have to kill the lower loyalty one, but no, I'm supposed to kill the copies, not the original. Aha! Joke's on my opponent for thinking my control deck had duress targets. Alright, well, let's just play the Hinata. Our opponent can Jund Charm Edict us right now, which is annoying. I'm willing to take more damage. How do you rate Obnix? Heard some people saying he's going to be the most broken thing ever, and some say he's just alright. Just alright, yeah, that's the one I was expecting. Just alright is probably where I'm about at. I think that it's a very good aggressive card, but it's pretty narrow in that sense. It is an aggressive card and it's not much else. Narrow doesn't mean bad. The best card in the world can be very narrow. But it doesn't leave me a lot of room to be interested in brewing with it, because it does one thing well, which is play well in aggressive creature decks. Unfortunately, I haven't drawn the ability to interact with anything here, so there's not a lot I can do. Now I need to kind of desperately protect my life total. It's one of those scenarios where we drew Hullbreaker Horror without having drawn one of our... Okay. 6 Unexpected Windfalls, so the Horror is not particularly impressive. And unfortunately, I messed up and destroyed the wrong Ob earlier, so they are going to get to copy it with a Seeker's Chariot. Although maybe they copy the cat by mistake? Nope. Unfortunately, continuing to be punished for mistakes. C'est la vie. I like the opponent deciding not to deal an extra point of damage to me, though. Alright, so we have to kill all the animals. Okay. That's not going to do anything. Alright, so this time around we'll bring in the Pithing Needle. I guess I can probably trim Syncopate if I'm bringing in Cinderclasm, maybe, generally? I don't know if that's a good heuristic, but it's an interesting one. Alright, take the play. Keep a hand that has lands, draw into things that are good. That's the game plan. Jwari Sentinel not being hit by Spikefield Hazard continues to make me sad. Unexpected Windfall, very good draw. Love to see it. Opponent's turn 2 Magda with no Jwari Sentinel is a delight. Need to remember to play a red source next turn. Jwari Sentinel, nothing else? Interesting. Alright, opponent. I'm willing to Fateful Absence that for tempo. If they elect to spend their next turn cracking that clue looking for a land drop while I resolve Unexpected Windfall, I am more than okay with that exchange. Why still Windfall but not the new big score? Because we want to play more than 4 copies of the card as such that we are legally allowed to. Okay. There we go. Alright. Let's go ahead and set an upkeep stop. Luckily for us, the opponent is not going to be able to Jund Charm our Hinata because it costs 4 mana to Jund Charm a Hinata. Alright, so let's just go ahead and functionally end this game. Unless the opponent has a counterspell. I do not, as of yet. We have a pile of 4/4s, with which we will hopefully be able to end the game, and some cards, with which we will hopefully be able to draw more cards. Goodness, that was tougher to say than it needed to be. Should I sorcery speed this Windfall? Nah. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Why bother? You should Jund Charm to make me sack my Hinata opponent so that I can Jwari Disruption it. No, don't play mana. That's bad. Goldspan Dragon. Alright, let's dig for an answer. Oh look, we found an answer. Is this the part where they concede? Yes. Yes, it is. Combos are fun. Even when your combo is just play Hinata, then play Opus, and the game is over. So how do we feel about a hand with a Lier and no blue mana? It's gotta be good enough, right? It's got big score. I don't think I'm allowed to mulligan 3 lands plus big score. Mono red. Oh my. Okay. So is this the answer to Obnixilis, make the opponent unable to cast it? I mean, going bigger than Obnixilis is definitely a very valid way to try to fight Obnixilis, I think. Sun Gold Sentinel. Alright, well, so much for my plan of cycling Magma Opus, because I believe Sun Gold Sentinel is definitely going to require a Fateful Absence if it is a 4-3. Sunrise Cavalier. Okay, that's... I feel like I am not well equipped to answer these large, hasty creatures while I am on the draw. Okay. I feel like I am possibly well equipped to answer large, hasty creatures while I'm on the draw if I have a Hinata, provided the Hinata doesn't... Okay, well, no, I'm dead. I am so incredibly dead, in fact, that it's kind of funny. My Hinata will not matter. Okay, I need like 3 Fading Hopes this turn, I think. It's wild that if I had 1 more mana, I think I could be able to stabilize this game. But that is not meant to be. Alright. I guess I need to draw 3 Fading Hopes off this, which isn't really actually possible, so that's not really viable. I don't have a Fading Hope in the graveyard, right? No. That wouldn't matter. Hinata doesn't let me cast spells from my graveyard. Okay, wait. Can I somehow make it day? 1 Fading Hope. I don't think that does anything. I bounce Storm Charge. It turns back to day. Stormrise puts a... Nah. That's not good enough. Okay, opponent. That is not things that I am well equipped to deal with. A lot of stuff that's bigger than Cinderclasm, but also stuff that's the same size as Cinderclasm. We're definitely playing 4 eggs. That's happening for sure. Probably supposed to cut Horror for being too slow. Where does that put me on the big score Galvanic Iteration game plan? I think maybe that means I cut the Windfalls for the 2 Cinderclasms then? Although Windfall with Smoldering Egg is actually really strong, so maybe I'm not supposed to cut those? Oh, I'm probably supposed to cut Syncopate. Okay, I can buy that. Is Dragon's Intervention playable since we have so many Windfalls? Probably not. I'm not a huge fan of sorcery speed board wipes in general. They're kind of just like boomer magic. I'm a pretty strong proponent of playing instant speed spot interaction over board wipes, generally speaking, and not falling behind. There's too much stuff that diversifies board presence and is like hasty top deck powerful threats for tapping out at sorcery speed to be like super appealing in modern Magic, in my opinion. That and killing my Hinatas and Liers isn't super exciting. Unfortunately, that's not very good. Unfortunately, this also isn't very good. Unfortunately, this also isn't very good. Wow. You would think that I play more than 1 land in my deck, but not today. Alright, down to 4. Okay. This is a playable-ish 4. We're going to need to draw lands and Hinata and still have that somehow be good enough. But we did get to finally keep a hand with more than 1 mana, even if it took 3 mulligans to do it. What if I actually should have gotten rid of the Magma Opus and kept a land? Nah, why would I need to do that? You're not going to do anything, huh? Okay. Then we will kill the Helm. And hope you don't have post-combat removal for the Smoldering Egg. Okay. Well, I am surprised my opponent didn't do anything other than crack a clue. I assume that means their hand is a bunch of 3-drops, which does not bode super well for the Cinderclasm portion of this game plan. Alright, I hate this attack because it means I can't Cinderclasm. Wow, they're not doing anything. Okay. Well, let's make our 4th mana. Okay. I mean, this is beginning to look potentially interesting. Hey, Lunanite. Thanks for the resub. I continue to appreciate the support. Opponent clearly should have been more willing to mulligan to 4. Is the takeaway here, I think? Alright, I would love to tax my opponent's burn spells. That makes my Smoldering Egg feel much safer. You want to attack another Hinata opponent? No? Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. Alright, I guess I'm going to start killing my opponent now. Reckless Stormseeker? Oh no! Anyway. Okay. Well, this looks doable. You want to play a 3-drop opponent? Cool. Good talk. I would love to put you to 4 life. Spikefield Hazard. Okay. It's a spell, so I'll take it. I mean, currently it's actually a lightning bolt, so, like, that's pretty good, I think. How are you going to kill 2 different flyers that are both lethal, opponent? Cool. Alright. I don't know. Maybe I should mulligan more often. Doesn't seem like it's as bad as I thought it was. Alright, well, let's try this again. Okay. This is a hand that has a plan. I believe that I want to play Smoldering Egg on turn 2 pretty badly. I think badly enough that I don't bother holding on to Fading Hope on turn 1. Would really like you to not interact with this Smoldering Egg in a way that's detrimental to me, opponent. No, Valor's stance kind of sucks. That's pretty mean of you. Okay. Red source for Unexpected Windfall is a very good start. I would have preferred to have had my Smoldering Egg still, but we'll make do. Thundering Raiju? Oh no. Interesting that it didn't stop in their main phase before the Luminarch Aspirant triggered, but oh well. Smoldering Egg? Sweet. I love Smoldering Egg. Can you put a counter on yourself? Yes. Do I want to cast this Unexpected Windfall this turn? I think I probably do rather than the Smoldering Egg. Luminarch Aspirant's a good start. Now don't play a 3-drop. Sweet. Oh, actually, I should do this now, shouldn't I? I might hit a Spikefield Hazard, or I could hit a big score. That would be the best possible scenario, yes. Hinata? Interesting. So, if I am to assume from that sequence that they either have 3 lands in hand, which seems unlikely, or some combination of effects like Valorous Stance, I'm not super interested in jamming Hinata and Egg into 3 open mana. Hinata I would be willing to jam into 2 open mana because it would not be killable now. But I think I'm probably supposed to forego the value of having Egg in play when I play Big Score, and instead just Galvanic Big Score here. Willing to take the 3, get a bunch of mana. I'm technically representing all the Storm Giants, but I think it's actually probably worth it to them to sack the Luminarch Aspirant to deny me the 2 treasures. But that is also only because I am aware that my hand is Galvanic Big Score, and that them doing nothing would be bad for them. Now I do have to discard one of these, unfortunately. I'd rather discard Smoldering Egg, I think. Oh hey, Lier is fantastic. Cool. The rest of this was not super great, but Lier is still pretty fantastic. So opponent has left themselves in a position where they do not have Valorous Stance up, which to me says that I want to play Lier. This was a mistake. I was supposed to play Hinata first. Shoot. Okay. So now when I go to play Hinata, they kill my Lier in response because I messed up. How would I prefer to handle that? They did pass through that, like they don't actually have anything. So if I do play Hinata here, what happens? I Fading Hope the Lier? I guess that's probably still totally fine. It's not as good as if I didn't mess up. Okay, and the opponent just doesn't have a removal spell, I guess. I have no clue what the contents of their hand is other than a bunch of lands in that case, but works for me. Alright, help remind me to take a look at that deck list when the game ends, which might be pretty soon here. Because I will forget about anything 5 seconds after I finish talking about it, otherwise. Alright, so we get Stormseeker, Stormseeker. They put counters on stuff. Oh, no. We're gonna go for Showdown. Okay, I guess that makes sense. On account of that, like, being a decent card and whatnot. Not that I think that they can beat me just by playing a bunch of Showdowns. Oh, Flame Discharge is cute, and Pseudo gets around Hinata's tax, kind of. How much do you have to pay for it? Oh, no, this isn't the new spell from the new set. That's the modified one. Alright. Still sort of gets around Hinata's tax, but you gotta pay 4 mana to kill Hinata, which is not really getting around the tax in any meaningful sense, because it still sucks. Alright, let's go ahead and Fateful Absence the Luminarch Aspirant, because I want to hold up Fading Hope on both of my creatures, I suppose? Did you really find the stance? And you don't want to use it on one of my creatures? Or are you debating something else here, opponent? I mean, I'm pretty fine with it if they try to use a removal spell here in response. I will just Fading Hope. They do not choose to use the removal spell in response. Kumano faces Kakazan rather than any of the spells that are about to get exiled? Okay. If you say so. Let's go ahead and play some spells. Technically, the opponent could have hasty creatures, but whatever, I'm the aggressive deck now. We are currently representing lethal next turn with both of these creatures, plus all the Storm Giants, so it is the opponent's job to prevent me from killing them. We shall see if they are capable of doing that. Redain would be slightly annoying, because it would tax Unexpected Windfall. I guess I could just Fateful Absence it first, so that's not that annoying, really. Wandering Emperor? Oh no. Alright, opponent. You successfully stopped me from having lethal, probably. Which one you gonna be? Gonna be Lier. That is the one that's more expensive. So that's probably correct. Alright, Galvanic Iteration. Unexpected Windfall. Discarding... probably discarding Spikefield Hazard. I think it more likely that I will want an untapped land than an extra 1 damage to something. An extra Hinata. Very well. Alright, let's put that Lier back in hand. Okie dokie, opponent. What else? Next thing to enter the battlefield does have an additional counter on it, so it's very unlikely I will be able to Cinderclasm anything. If the opponent wants to spend a bunch of mana to kill Hinata, I would be okay with that. They don't. They just play Valkmira. Okay. Well, I'm also pretty much totally fine with that. So let's go ahead and play a Lier. Go to combat, blow up a Wandering Emperor. Between Valkmira and Hinata, most of my spells are back to costing approximately the normal amount of mana. Etchings of Kumano is not Cinderclasmable because of Valkmira. Currently we do 14 minus 3 damage on an unblocked attack, which means only 11, which means I put my opponent to 2. Raydane. Okay, well, that's probably going to get Fateful Absenced. The Etchings of Kumano does not currently matter very much. I guess Angel Fire Ignition sort of makes it matter slightly more. Let's see. Could just choose to completely ignore the Etchings of Kumano. Should I desire to do that? Yeah, I'm going to go with playing completely ignore the Etchings of Kumano. The Raydane tax is annoying otherwise. I mean, I guess I could block with Hall, but then I have to use a bunch of treasures, and I don't really want to do that. The Etchings doesn't even die that turn anyway. Meh. Not interesting. Hey, Smoldering Egg. I bet you can flip sort of quickly. Maybe. Smoldering Egg not super great against Valkmira, but yeah, what you gonna do? Is it worth hitting my opponent for 3? Probably not. Probably yes, but I don't know. Alright, so the opponent gets to make a, what, 7/7? I guess that's, like, cool. So I could Cinderclasm twice to deal 2 damage to the Etchings and wipe my board, which sounds probably wrong. I can Cinderclasm to deal 1 damage to the Etchings, big score to transform the Smoldering Egg, and then pay 1 mana to deal 1 damage for each following trigger through the Valkmira. Oh, or the opponent could just do nothing. That works for me fine. Okay. I might Jwari Disruption the next thing they do, just in the interest of putting 2 counters on this Smoldering Egg. March of Otherworldly Light. It's downright inconvenient. Alright. We're sort of flooding a little bit. Okay. Well, does that mean that I'm actually supposed to start attacking with Hinata then? Legion Angel. Gross. Alright, so not supposed to attack with Hinata. We are very much at risk of flooding out here. Alright, big score helps. I do like draw 3s. Alright, an Expressive Iteration, what do you have to say? You have to say Magma Opus, which, under most circumstances, is a pretty good card with Hinata in play. Valkmira is less great. Okay, well, I guess I probably have enough mana to make this not really a problem. Tap 2 target permanents, huh? Okay, so let's go ahead and deal all the damage to Legion Angel. I guess 1 damage to Kumano. and then tap both of those permanents so that the Valkmira taxes me the fewest number of times. Because Valkmira forces me to pay 1 for every target something has. I guess that just always results in the Magma Opus costing 8 mana, doesn't it? Between the way Valkmira and Hinata work. Alright, Legion Angel down. And that does give us another Magma Opus to play around with. Hey, Magical Honey Badger. Thanks for the sub. I greatly appreciate the support. Okay, more Legion Angels. Presumably... Wait, why did... Oh, because... Okay, right. The other portion of Alchemira. Lesson learned. Are we still in combat? Believe we're still in combat. Alright. Down to 5. Let's go ahead and kill that other Legion Angel with the Cinderclasm. Would have liked to have had 3 extra mana, but we accept the errors that we make. Alright. Well, that was a counterproductive turn, so let's just sit here and uncounterproductive the turn. I'm just going to sit here and draw cards and make mana so that I can't mess this up any worse than I already have. Flame Discharge. Deals extra damage. Alright, so let's go with this, 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 tap and tap. Pay. Another Magma Opus is nifty. Damage, 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 damage. Tap, tap. Damage, 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 tap, tap. Any permanent? Yeah, okay. Alright, and then are we good? I think we're good after... Oh, I had a Galvanic. I should have totally copied that last Magma Opus 2 more times. Shoot. Oh well. Rip apart. Cool. I'm much happier with them playing that than the Legion Angel. I don't believe I have an answer to the Valkmira, which means I'm just going to have to get there with chunks of 3 damage from elemental tokens. Awkward. Okay, Fateful Absence is good to see. Other Fateful Absence is also nice to see. That should be more than good enough. I have a fair whack of mana. I have functionally 4 Vindicates. Boy. I have 5 times 3, 15 damage on the next turn. Opponent currently doesn't have Trample. So Galvanic, Galvanic, Fateful Absence, pay. That should work. Alright, So Legion, Angel, Cavalier. Suppose I did this in the wrong order. It should have been targeting the Cavalier first, and the Legion Angel second? Well, Legion Angel with the first copy. Yeah, it probably doesn't matter very much. So I am out of the ability to play spells at this point while paying for Valkyria. But assuming that the opponent just plays a Legion Angel, then they should be dead on board. And if they're not dead on board, I have a Fateful Absence to poke them with. Oh. Was I paying for Valkyria while I had a Lier in play this entire time? I was, wasn't I? Chad, how come nobody said anything? One of these days I'm going to remember that interaction. I'm the pro? Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm good at this. I was so busy trying to do taxes, I forgot I didn't have to do taxes. When we say anything, you either ban us or you just dismiss our Grixis files? I don't know that I've ever banned anybody. But I have dismissed a lot of Grixis piles. I believe that. Alrighty. On the play, have mana. Will keep. Spikefield Deserted Beach, Fateful Absence is not like the most exciting curve, but I guess I probably don't want a Fateful Absence a 2-drop most of the time anyway. Been most impressed with Elspeth and Extraction Specialist from the new set. Extraction Specialist's an interesting one. I don't really want to play this on white and then only have a single blue source with a Lier in hand. So I'm just going to accept not having Fateful Absence on turn 2. Maybe I regret it. Maybe I don't top deck a 3-drop and it's not really painful at all. But the next deck we're going to play here after this game is a deck that has Elspeth in it, and Elspeth has really impressed me in that deck. You know what? Let's just kill the Blood Tithe Harvester. What you gonna do? Play a Fable? Alright. So here we have some choices. I could just slam Hinata, which isn't super fantastic against their 1-mana removal spell that sacks a blood token and then kills Hinata. So what I could do is just let them make a bunch of mana and me cast Big Score and see which one of us is happier with the results of that. Luminarch is the 2-drop 1/1 that puts a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures at the beginning of every combat. Alright, opponent gets to make treasures. Look at them with just this trifecta of random artifact tokens. Or Fable of the Mirror Breakers. Oh no. My opponent. Such mana fixing. And a setup for the Fable lock. Well, not lock, but the Kiki Jiki combo with mini Kiki Jikis. Concerning. Hey, Syncopate. That would be better if my opponent didn't have infinity mana, unfortunately. Okay. Well, I mean, I've got a Syncopate for 3, and that's still a lot. But most of the removal spells my opponent's deck is probably playing are pretty live right now. Okay, Tenacious Underdog I do not really care about. My opponent swings, makes treasures, plays removal spell before blocks after treasures. Yes, they do in fact do that. Well done, madam. That is the correct sequencing. Oh, no? Okay, do you not want to sack your blood token, so you want me to get this blocked, or do you just not have anything? Were you debating if you wanted to crack the clue? I assume it was correct to crack the clue. Medoc Massacre for... Deal? Deal. Thank you? Huh. Okay. That works for me. Fable of Mirrorbreaker. So I could syncopate that. Am I supposed to? They're gonna have a lot of treasure otherwise. But I also want to have a lot of treasure myself. You know what? Deal, opponent. Not making land drops is pretty awkward. Alchemist's Gambit will be good eventually. Not yet, though. They might have nothing for Hinata. This is true. This is very true. Extremely possible. Second verse, same as the first. Not interested in letting them have the thing sticking around to make more tokens, so if they want to Meat Hook Massacre me again... Graveyard Trespasser. Okay. Are there any creatures? There are 3 creatures in graveyards. Okay. No, Fading Hope is cool. Lier is pretty good against Graveyard Trespasser, generally speaking. Should I be sorcery speeding a removal spell with Fateful Absence so they can't respond to anything with a reflection of Kiki-Jiki? I don't think I need to because I already have good blockers. I could blow up the Kiki-Jiki so that they can't assemble the Kiki-Jiki combo. I am probably supposed to do that. Uninspired though it may be. Oh, right, yeah, that's really good with Meat Hook Massacre. I am super happy I did not let them do that. That would have been a catastrophic mistake. What's the combo? So if you have 2 copies of Reflection of Kiki-Jiki in play, you can just have one make a copy of the other because they're not legendary, and then just keep doing that over and over and over. You get to make 1 copy for each mana that you have. And the copies go away at the beginning of the next end step, which means that if I let them get to my end of turn, they can just keep doing that. And it's really hard to interrupt because I only have to spend 1 mana to move to the next end of turn. It's convoluted to explain. But especially with Meat Hook Massacre, it means that they basically do 1 damage to me per point of mana they have, or more. Yeah, more Fateful Absences. Gross. Do I want to get rid of Trespassers or Kikis? I would probably rather get rid of Kiki. To be fair, Kiki-Jiki is so good that it is a little unintuitive to realize that it actually has, like, a dozen more ways that it's busted than you would expect. It just keeps going deeper and deeper. Nixilis is pretty annoying. But luckily I have some random cards that I don't care about discarding. Namely the Syncopate and the Alchemist's Gambit.
My goons will make quick work of you. Go ahead. Plead for mercy.
Yeah. Oh, I can't cleave Alchemist's Gambit from the graveyard, can I? Okay, so we actually have to discard the Syncopate. Awkward. Nope, alright. Expressive Iteration's a fantastic draw. Wow. Good work, Expressive Iteration. That's, like, actually completely absurd. Let's go ahead and kill the Obnixilis and then win the game.
Well, now, you've got to ruin
So we're gonna
all
go
my fun.
pop, pop. Is there any point in attacking the Trespassers? I guess not really. One's got 2 clue tokens, but restricting their access to black mana is probably still correct. Ward, discard a card. Oh no, I forgot. I will decline to pay the ward cost, which doesn't matter because there's a Lier in play. Yeah, because Flashback is an alternate cost, and Cleave is also an alternate cost. So the Flashback cost only applies to the main cost and not to any different alternate costs. It came up when I was playing Lier with Parasitic Grasp, because if you flashback Parasitic Grasp from the graveyard with Lier, it can only target a human ever. And thankfully I remembered that that is the same story with Alchemist's Gambit.
My empire crumbles.
I actually probably should tap these 2 Trespassers rather than go after my opponent's mana, because I don't want to have to block and lose 2 life just to the Meathook Massacre trigger and the Graveyard Trespasser attack trigger. Don't think you've set up any better Twitch TV. I haven't. I don't know. I feel like I'm out of it on the emote zeitgeist. I've got a couple that I enjoy using, but like, I don't think I'm as into them as a lot of other folks are. So, I mean, I assume I'm supposed to play a Pithing Needle. Probably. I put it in the sideboard ostensibly for this matchup. I can probably cut an Alchemist's Gambit. I guess it's been like the most generally underwhelming card thus far. Yeah, that's been my experience with like add-on programs that add emotes to stuff in the past, is that it kind of, if you have to like opt into it somehow, it can be, what's the way to put it, like, it can make it a little exclusionary feeling to folks who are coming into it for the first time, which I'm not super enthusiastic about. I'd rather try to be as accessible as possible. I like that. Accessible. That's a good word. Admit it, Chris, you're just obsessed with Hinata. I'm obsessed with good cards in general. I see no shame in this. Alright. You know what? Fading Hope is a somewhat clean answer to Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Do I want Syncopate? I think I do. That sounds probably good. I do like curving out Syncopate. I sort of suspect my giant lobster isn't actually going to be good against the opponent's deck, but we'll find out. Are you somewhat related to Portugal? Your surname is Portuguese. Yeah. Ancestors on my, well, father's side of the family came from Portugal. Long way back. Further back than any real living memory. This sucks. I don't want my opponent to take big score from me. Rude. Take Syncopate, opponent. You know you want to play your next spell and actually resolve it. Yes! Oh, God. Pony, you have no clue how little I care about that Blood Tithe Harvester. Thank you. I guess we can play this on white? I guess we can play this on white. I'm getting rid of Expressive Iteration or Galvanic here. Uncertainty, uncertainty, uncertainty. Really? Getting rid of Kiki over Blood Tithe Harvester? Not what I would have expected, but alright. Let's get rid of a Galvanic then. This would be a good time to find a Pithing Needle. So they make a 1/1. Then they make me discard a card, which I say no to. And then I top deck Pithing Needle. Oh. Alright, Well, Valky takes my Hinata, and then I Spikefield the Valky and replay Hinata. Or they take my Hullbreaker Horror, which is even better, because I don't have to actually commit to Spikefielding. Regrettable. Okay. Red mana. Spikefield Valky. Play Hinata. Pass the turn. Hope the opponent doesn't find another Blood Tithe Harvester. I would have to Fateful Absence their Blood Tithe Harvester in response if they did. That would be awkward. Alright. Lose a little bit of life. Very well.
Your punishment is
Lose a little bit of life. Very well.
By coin or carnage.
Valky. Okay. I don't care at all. Oh no, my Hullbreaker Horror. Whatever will I do? So the opponent might think that they're allowed to attack with the Devil token here, thinking that post-combat they can Blood Tithe Harvester to kill my Hinata after pinging it with a 1-1. What would actually happen is I would block it, and then when they chose to ping the Hinata with the 1-1, I would Fateful Absence the Blood Tithe Harvester, because it can't be used as an instant. Unfortunately, opponent plays around me doing things. Pithing Needle, Pithing Needle, Pithing Needle, Pithing Needle, Pithing Needle, please. Oh. Never mind, this is better. You were right, deck. I don't know what I was thinking. I would absolutely love 2 Magma Opuses, yes. Let's see. Ping, ping. No, wait, come back. Oh, I see. There was Galvanic in the graveyard, so it already looked like 2 Magma Opuses. When in fact, it was like 3 Magma Opuses, opponent.